and welcome to episode 46 of the Tash Talks live freaking show. Happy freaking Friday, my beautiful souls. Hope you are good. Today is a good freaking day because I decide to be. Hello, hey Karen. Today I decide that today is going to be absolutely epic. So a few things before we kind of get into a question is the first thing, of course, it's Friday, which only means one thing. The Tash Talks episode for the podcast has dropped. And because the challenge has done so well. So let me tell you about the challenge if you're not in there, which I think you're not in there. So you need to get yourself in there. So it's called Scrap the Strategy. And this was something that I'd just done a masterclass probably about 3 weeks ago. And I felt called to do more. Like that's all I can explain to it is I felt called to do more. So most entrepreneurs probably would have gone, no, like, don't do it. I'm not like that. I'm like, if I feel called to do it, I'm doing it. So I did. And I was trying to think about an idea of something where I could give you a taster of my coaching, experience the rapid resolution therapy for yourself, right? So that's why I had this download to do this challenge. And then I kind of spoke it out to my coach. We mapped it out and then I executed it. Because I'm a generator, I'm an Aries, go, go, go. If I got an idea, when I know I go, I'm gone. So I've done this challenge and in the first 24 hours, over 40 people signed up for this masterclass, for this challenge called Scrap the Strategy Challenge. And it's just been incredible. And it was meant to be a 3-day challenge, which I then extended. And it's still going now. I've got a few things that I want to drop in there today. So if you're not already in there, then come on in there. I'll drop the link into the Facebook group again for you to grab on, get it on in before that closed down. And it's really, to me, it's really important that you get touched by this work. Even if you join the challenge and, you know, I invite you to then come on into Conscious Coach. And even if you decide that that's not what you want to do and you get touched and experienced from that challenge, then I'm like, go done. And I think you've got to understand this in business. Too many people are short-sighted when it comes to business. They're like, well, they didn't buy. They came into my masterclass. They joined my lives. They're in my Facebook group, but they didn't buy. And it's like, okay, but widen your context. You've got to think about, yes, there's a part that you can play when it comes to being the coach, being the CEO, being the service provider. Of course, you know, there needs to be a strategy when it comes to you launching. Like, do you know when and what stages of launch you're in? Do you know what you should be doing in those types of stages? Like when we come to what content to put out, what to show up in stories and talk about, those types of things. So of course, there's a strategy to it. But I think too many people want that short-term validation of I'm good enough, my program's good enough if X amount of people come and join this. And I was just over the moon and busy celebrating my own freaking life, the fact that 40 amazing souls came into it. Now, listen, this is when numbers don't matter. Have I had more people join challenges? Yeah. Like when, for example, I used to do ads, I used to have 3,000 people join a challenge. So, but can you see, and this is really, really important, I have changed so much as a coach, as a person, as a soul. Who I bring into my world has changed now. What I want to teach, what I want to focus on is very different. This shows two very different modalities in business as well, like doing Facebook ads to organic marketing, right? Which is where I focus all my attention on now. And so I think some people get caught up in, oh, well, I only had X amount of people join, or I only had 100 people in my life. And I'm like, whoa, 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 zone out. Celebrate every single soul that has come to join your challenge. Why? Because our attention spans used to be 5 seconds, they're now 3. You've got 3 seconds from someone to find you, to go onto your Instagram and want to continue to follow you. You've got 3 seconds in that live. You've got 3 seconds when someone sees that landing page. You've got 3 seconds. We used to have 5. Things are changing. People have more competition. We've got, our phones are not on do not disturb. So our phones are there constantly wanting our attention. Like everything wants a bit of us. So now I want you to think about, wow, if you were stood in a room and you had 40 people come to you speak, wouldn't you be like, wow? It's like when people say, oh, I've only got 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 followers. I'm like, what if those 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people were in the room with you right now? If you were speaking to a theatre that had 2,000 people in it, how does your attitude change? You'd be like, oh, yeah. So stop with the talk of I've only had this and I only got this, and celebrate every single soul joining, coming to follow you on Instagram, sign up for your free masterclass, joining your freebie, coming to hear you live. Like, stop getting so consumed into that, oh, well, I thought it was going to be this and it should be more. No, no, no. It's not about how wide you go. It's how deep you go. It isn't about the vanity metric of how many followers you have on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, your podcast downloads. They're all vanity metrics. What you want to be focused on is who's engaging, who's actually communicating with you, connecting with you, who's sliding into your DMs. Like, when you are putting a piece of content out there, like, to me, it doesn't matter if it doesn't go viral. To me, it's not like, oh, that was really successful because it went viral. No, no, no. Actually, where I look at my metrics is what's being saved and shared. They're my two metrics I really kind of focus on, because that shows to me that what I'm putting out there, what I'm putting down, my audience are picking up. It's landing with them. It's resonating with them. And another metric, of course, isn't if something's gone viral. It's more if, how many clients did I sign from that? Like, everybody else doesn't need to know that I put this piece of content out and I signed 4 one-on-one clients. Nobody else needs to know that. I know that, right, that's speaking to my ideal client. That is making her move into the DM. Do you know that? Do you know when it comes to your piece of content, what drives somebody into engaging with you to then what drives them into actually buying from you, right? So I just kind of wanted to riff on that first, because I think it's so important that I think we can get so wrapped up in the world of numbers. And when you are on social media, which we all are, and we hear the likes of other experts, gurus, whatever you want to call them, and they're like, wow, 50,000 people signed up for our masterclass, it makes you feel shit, and you go, oh, 50,000, I only had 5, or I only had this. And that is where we're getting into that lack mentality. So my best advice is to you, two steps. One step, if you're going to hear something like that, it's going to trigger you, unfollow and just mute them in the nicest way possible. They don't need to know that, they don't get a notification. I don't get a notification if I've been muted, which I'm sure I have been many times. I'm sure that I have triggered people. And in a way, I obviously don't do it like intention. I go, I'm going to write this post to trigger somebody. No, but if it does, this is good, because I remember when I used to get triggered and I used to see something and I used to mute them. And then what I've done is actually, which is step 2, go and do the work to actually shift that. Now I don't get triggered by that. I remember things before that I would see on social media and it would trigger me, or someone may say something and it would trigger me, and it might not have been something that I actually even wanted, but it would trigger me. Or I'd hear somebody say, I made £10,000 in a day lying on a beach, and I'm like, it used to trigger me. And that's until I've done the work. So I think there's 2 kind of elements to this. The first thing is that mute them, and then do your own work. So you don't actually get triggered when it comes. It's like, have the toolbox that you can go into and be like, right, that came up to me, instead of like, oh my God, I got triggered. It's more, okay, now what tools and techniques can I kind of use to get me through this so I don't feel triggered by this, okay? These things should make you feel inspired and show you what's possible, and that's incredible. But don't get so wrapped up in the numbers. You forget what you're actually doing, who you're doing it for, and why. I think that's so important. I had 5 people sign up for my last workshop. 3 turned up and 1 stayed, and she potentially wants me to be doing a wellbeing person in her company. Exactly. Oh my God, Kevin, what an incredible point. Exactly my point. So this is why you never know. You never know what could happen from that. I've just had a rush of different ideas of when I've done. For example, I've done a free guest expert training in somebody else's masterclass, someone else's membership, sorry. And that then, from me doing it free, then got me clients, right? I didn't do it with the intention of like, I must do this in order to sign clients. It's like, wow, for me, my word this year was visibility, like visibility and consistent. Actually, they were my 2 words. And so when I'm getting approached by these things, I'm like, wow. And then in the last month, I've been approached by 2 guaranteed, 1 potentially, slots where I'm doing more guest experts, being asked to be somebody else's, being the guest expert in their membership, in their program, right? Visibility. So stop getting so consumed in, oh, well, that isn't paid, so I'm not going to do it. Or that only got 5 people, so I'm not going to do that. Like, no, think, like, if you were to widen the context and think, I'm making it no matter what. Whatever your goal is, like, it's already happened. I'm just vibrating at a different energy right now, and I'm just going to energetically match this, and this happened. What would you be doing? And for me, why I do free masterclasses, why I do boot camps, why I do lives, why I do this, I want to give value. It's a part of like who I am. Not like, and I just think how do I say this without meaning it the wrong way? Like, not like for me, this is just my personal opinion. Not everything I do is about money. There's been so many things in my business that I've done that makes no absolute sense when it comes to financials. Like none. Like I had other people saying to me, what if you're doing, Tash? This doesn't make sense. Do this or do that, do this. And I was like, no, this feels good. So I'm doing this. I'm going to do this. So it's a part of who I am. The reason why I wanted to become a coach was to give, was to help people. That doesn't always then become clients, and that's fine. Or at that point might not, and then something else comes from that, something else comes from that. No, but if I hadn't have done that, then that would have gone that, and then I wouldn't have done that, and then that, right? So I think, and that's such a great example, Catherine, of you saying that. I remember where if we think about conversion rates, okay, gonna get sexy here, but when we think about, it's not so much the bigger amount of people that you get in, it's the quality of people. Like, are they your ideal clients? Because if you're getting 1,000 people into your masterclass, but they're not actually dreamy ideal clients, then it doesn't, like, what's the actual point? You're not even going to serve them, because the stuff you're going to be talking about actually won't teach them anything. And I remember actually when I think about my bigger launches, the amount of numbers that I got in, when I look at the conversion rate to what I convert now, and for example, I could do Insta stories and I will sell more and make more than I would have done before. And that's without any ad spend, right? So yes, I was playing with much bigger numbers, as in like how many people I was getting through, but also you've then got to think about, it depends what you're selling. It depends in how you're selling it. Everyone needs different touch points now. People buy very differently from this whole lockdown, COVID, all of that two things. It's changed people's buying mentality, and you need to know that. So you need to be able to adapt your business to that. I mean, we've gone off on a whole different riff here. This is not what I was going to talk about. But let's round back. So it's back to the challenge. Yes, my point was that. So of course, at the end of that challenge, I then offer you to continue doing this work and say, listen, like, come inside Conscious Coach. We're going to spend the next 3 months together rewiring your unconscious mind. And then I taught on what the unconscious mind does, because I think knowledge is power. When you know what your unconscious mind is doing and why it's doing it and how you can change it, boom, you're going to change it. And for me, where was I? I was at a business event and someone asked me, like, if you could start all over again, like, what would you do? And I said, really interesting, like, I've got to get that for 1 minute. I will be back. 1 minute, guys. Oh, sorry, guys, I had to pop because that was a delivery I missed yesterday. Oh, I'm out of breath. That was a delivery that we missed yesterday, and it's our fancy dress outfits for our party tomorrow. So I like could not miss that, and I was like, trust it to bloody come on my live. Whew. Let me just breathe. So when I was at this business event, and they said, if you could start all over again, as in this room, everyone was at different stages. There was people that were just starting their business to multi 6, 7 figures, okay? And they asked me what would I do if I could start it again, but with the knowledge that I had? And I would be like, I would have learned about the subconscious mind a lot quicker. I wasted, I don't know if that's the choice of word, but I spent a lot of time, money, and energy into the wrong things because I thought that is what creates success. And that's why I'm so passionate about strategy. Is so important. It's massively important in business. But the most important thing is your subconscious mind. So yes, I am going to sing that from the rooftops. If I could do this all over again, that is the one thing that I would focus on. I know that things would be very, very different if I'd learned to master my subconscious mind at where I had done. I truly believe I wouldn't have been able to change, oh, it's giving me shivers just thinking about it. I wouldn't have been able to change the events that happened in 2022, without a doubt. It was literally outside my control. The way I dealt with it, I would have been able to change, because it was because of that which led me to learning about the subconscious mind for sure. But let's say I didn't need to go through that in order for me to find this skill, and I had it anyway, I would have been able to deal with 2022 a lot, very, very differently, very, very differently. And this is all a learning curve, and this is why I'm so passionate about learning this skill. So yes, yes, you're going to have more sales. Yes, you're going to be able to confidently show up on your Instagram and speak your authentic truth and sell out your offers. Yes, you're going to make more money. Like, yes, all of these things are like the knock-on effect of you learning how to rewire your subconscious mind. But it goes beyond your business, because it's more about you, who you are, how you feel about yourself, how you show up as your authentic self, which then has a knock-on effect to your family, your friends, your partners, the people that are surrounded by you. Like, they'll see you very, very differently because you'll show up very, very differently. When we learn how to change the way we think and feel, everything around us changes, because our mind is processing the data that's all around us right now. And if we could learn to understand that data and process it very, very differently, more quickly, you would have a different outcome. So you wouldn't have to sit in that same stuff that you're ruminating time and time again. So do I believe in regrets? Absolutely not. But it was a question and I answered it, and that was my answer. So if you're interested and you want to find out some more information about Conscious Coach, then send me the word coach. Let's have a chat. I'm also saying to you, if you are on the fence and you want to have a few you want to pick my brain and see if it's the right fit for you, I'm offering some calls as well. So send me a DM first. Let's have a chat about where you are right now, what the things that you're kind of experiencing, struggling with, that you'd like to shift, and let's see if it's the right fit for you. The content gets released this week, and our first call is next Friday. So then after that, the doors will close. So do not wait. Don't wait and spend that, I'll wait to the next round. No, like, jump in now. Change you, the way you think, the way you business, like, do that now, and imagine then what you're going to be celebrating in 3 months' time. That's what I always freaking say. So I got asked this question from my audience of how to fill your masterclass when you don't have a big following. And then I was like, oh, perfect. Let's talk about this in Tash Talks. So how to fill your masterclass when you don't have a big following. The first thing is you don't need a big following. You do not need a big following. A big following doesn't mean big money, doesn't mean big success, doesn't mean your masterclass can be filled. Like, that's not what that means. What you want is engagement. That's what you want. You want an engaged audience. That is why, if you think about someone that you follow, and let's say they're putting some Insta stories up and they're selling their one-on-one high ticket package. Let's say they're selling some business intensives, right? Let's say it's quite high ticket. And they literally put it up on their Insta stories and they're gone. Sold out. They had 4 slots, free, 2 countdown, gone. Sorry, they're all gone, right? Why do you think that is? Because you could try and tell yourself, oh, it's because they've got a big audience. But your number of followers doesn't equal your number of viewers. You know this. Not everybody that follows you watches your stories. You know this. So if that's the case and they've got 10,000 followers, but they're only, they're not having 10,000 people view their actual stories. If it's not that, then what could it be? And I'll tell you, it's engagement. They have a very engaged audience, a community that they have cultivated, a community that they can continue to serve for them. So it's not always just like, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. They're giving tons of value. And when you position this in a way where it's not just like educational and just like free tips, and like, because you don't want to just become the free resource, right? You want to be able to give that problem awareness, so your audience goes, oh, this is what I'm struggling with, this is my problem, this is where I want to get to, and she's the person to do that. So when they're thinking that from your content, when they go onto Insta stories and they see that you're selling your one-on-one, they want in, they're voting on their polls, they're good to go. So instead of thinking, oh my goodness, I need more, so I need to go wider, I'd actually say you need to go deeper. And with the audience that you have, one of my coaches back in 2022 that I worked with, she had at the point, I don't know what she's got now, but she had like 3,000 followers. She's a multi-7-figure coach. She's got 3,500 followers. I was also listening to a podcast this morning, and this person also multi-7-figure, and she's got 3,000 followers. So like, this is it. And I want to share this with you because I think sometimes we can get into our bullshit heads and tell ourselves, oh, I don't make 10K because I don't have 10,000 followers. I was making 10K way, way, way before I had 10,000 followers, let me tell you. The followers isn't what makes you the money. You've got to be able to serve your audience. You've got to be able to create You want to build that know, like, and trust factor. So when you do sell something, they're in. They're brilliant. They're like, oh my goodness, yes, I want in. So think about more engagement. Put your focus on engagement. I would also give yourself enough time to promote your masterclass. So many people think, well, it's free. Like, why are people not so? Why does this feel like I'm selling something? Well, you are. Like, just because you're not selling your program that is £2,000, you're selling, and what you're exchanging is someone's time. They're giving you their name, their email address, and their time. Now, time is the most precious entity ever. That's something you're never getting back. You know, if I give £2,000, I give £2,000, I can make £2,000 back again. If I give my time, I can't get that time back again. So in fact, it's actually probably more precious than someone paying you for the money. Okay, so what I would say, give yourself enough time to promote this masterclass. So I always say, depending on how warm your audience is, how engaged your audience is, I would say at least 2 weeks to really kind of promote that. So, and one thing I want you to really focus on when you are selling this masterclass is make it about them, not you. Make it about them. So what I would say is what you are going to walk away with. Tell them what they're going to walk away with. And what they don't give a shit about is you going 60 minutes and I'm going to go through 3 modules. They do not give a shit. They don't care the length of it. What they care about is how that is going to transform them. They are going to commit to you in this masterclass. What are they going to walk away from? How are you going to help them? Put that focus onto that bit. So I see this so much. People say, oh, you're going to become more confident and love yourself more. Like, what? No, what does that actually mean to her? That's what she cares about. You know, when you're saying I'm doing a masterclass to teach you how to be more confident and love yourself, that could be for dogs. That could be for partners. That could be for you as an entrepreneur. That could be someone that's in corporate work. Like that could be anything. You could teach someone to be more confident by walking their dog. You could teach someone by confident pole dancing. You could teach someone to be more confident by doing inner chakra work. You could, you know, there's so many different facets to this. Why do I care? Why is this the masterclass that I need to be jumping on? Okay. So make it about her. When I talk about selling on stories, like I want you to be selling on stories every single day. And I want you to be getting used to that. And instead of seeing this as oh my goodness, I've got to sell every day. It's, oh my goodness, I get to serve every day. Like that's the way I see things. Like I am always continuously selling something on my Insta stories. Like that's my platform of where my dreamy ideal clients are and they want to buy from me. So why would I not give them the solution to a problem that they have? I know they want to get to 10K months. I know what's stopping them. I'm going to give them something to offer. So whether that's, so for example, you've noticed I am literally just selling at the moment for you to come into my challenge. I don't make any money off that. Like that, I want to get you guys into that challenge. I want you to experience that challenge. So that is all you'll see in my stories now up until the weekend, and then I'll switch it then for the last week, all about Conscious Coach, until that door closes on Friday, and then I'll go into the pre-sale then of my next offer for March, okay, which is very, very exciting. So I want you to be thinking about, and you have to do this audit yourself, are you continuously selling on your Insta stories? You cannot say, oh, I'm not getting consistent sales when you're not consistently selling. Like it doesn't make sense. You go, oh, I'm not getting consistent engagement. You're not consistently posting though. You know, people want the 10Ks, they want the sold out launches, they want all of that, but they're not willing to do the work. And I'm not the right coach for you if you want to be that person that does no work, lays on a beach and makes millions of pounds. Like that's not what I'm going to teach you. And it will be really interesting. I've never met anybody that has done that and doesn't work. Like, you know, I just haven't. So I'd be fascinated with how you can make millions and it'll actually work. So I'd like to call slightly bullshit on that one, but that's just my opinion. So when we think about this, we want to be serving our audience. We want to be every day giving them that next steps. Whether it's free or whether there's a price point to it, it doesn't matter. You're still selling. Okay. So something else I do is I celebrate every single person joining. So you would have seen that I celebrate when I had all those signups, and then I done like another one a couple of days later. I'll probably do another one today because I've had even more people join the challenge. So I want to celebrate every single person. Like get into the details. Remember why you do what you freaking do. You love what you do. Share that. Like what, are you only loving what you're doing when you're making money? Are you only loving what you're doing because you can go, oh my God, I sold out my launch. Oh my God. Like, no, we love what we do because we love what we do. The money and the success and the sold out stuff is all the byproduct of what we do. Never forget that. So When we're another good thing you could do is like a countdown, create some FOMO, create excitement around it. Like, how is your challenge different to anybody else's? That's what they're also going to want to know. How are you going to be able to stand out? And your content is going to play such a massive part into this, that your content, you want to be creating it so it's valuable and engaging. So it's going to make people want to share, want to save down. So then that way, kind of see it as a funnel that people are coming to find you, whether they're following you already and then they're funneling into your masterclass, or new people are coming into your, let's say, Instagram or TikTok. How are they being funneled into this masterclass? You want to be thinking strategically on each kind of part to this of like, okay, somebody comes in here, where are they going? They come and follow you, and then what? Are you just expecting them to do all the work and find your link in bio? Is it even in your link in bio? Are you not even selling your Insta stories? Are you selling your Insta stories? So you have got to put this work in. You've got to do it, right? And can you see in every part of this strategic bit, if what's going to naturally come up is self-doubt, it's going to come up fear. That is why you need to work the subconscious. That is why you need to shift those limiting beliefs that are going to come up. Because when it comes to joint selling on Insta stories, like, I don't even think twice about it. I don't go, oh, sell. Oh, I sold yesterday. That doesn't even enter my absolute head. Did it used to? For sure. It would stop me from actually selling it. I can't sell again. Sold yesterday. Only launched last week. I only done. No. I've got an absolutely different mindset when it comes to me serving my audience, which is why I become a coach. You say you want to become a coach, yet you're not serving your audience. There is a disalignment here, right? So for me, creating content that's valuable, bingeable, makes somebody want to go, yeah. Like, I remember the type of coaches that I work with and what makes me want to sign up for them. And I think this would be really good to look and review actually in your own business of what's the customer journey of when somebody finds you to actually then working with you. Look at that. So for me, when I think about my last coach that I working with, I literally went onto her TikTok. She got recommended through somebody. I checked out her TikTok. I must have binged maybe 10 of her videos, straight into her DMs. Okay, I want to join. How do I pay you? Send me the link. And I've always been that person that when I feel something, I go. Like, you just know, right? And I've always been, of course, social proof. You want to see all of these things, but it's not so much for me, because there's other coaches out there that are making a lot more money than what my coach is. That's not about that for me. It's not about, oh, because she's making $1 million a month, I'm going to go with her. No, I want to go with, and I heard this on a podcast a couple of days ago, and I loved it. I pick a happy coach. I don't pick them just because they're rich. I think that's so important. And my coach loves what she does. Like, you can just tell she absolutely loves it. That's the energy. She's living freedomly, she in her way of what works for her. And this is such a massive thing about my embodiment. I love what I do, and I love when my clients say to me, Tash, you can really tell that you care, you go over and beyond. Now, I have boundaries. I don't think just because my clients say that, it doesn't mean don't have boundaries. I absolutely do. But I will over deliver. And I would much rather you come into one of my containers, whichever they're being, you'd be like, that was amazing. I'd much rather that than, that to me is so, so important. So that I intertwine that so much in my content. I really want to give tons of value. I want you to come into my world, binge it. And then, if you feel like, yeah, I want to take that next step, then you're straight into my DMs. Like, that's the energy I want to create. I want to create the energy that I give out. So serving your audience is very, very important, because then we drive that traffic into our masterclass, right? Too many people get bored when it comes to selling their masterclass. If you're getting bored with what you are selling, then what you are selling is boring. Because I never get bored with what I'm selling. Never. You can find a way. Now, if, for example, you can get selling fatigue, if you're selling the same thing for 3 months, then yeah, you're going to get bored. Go on, why are you selling the same thing for 3 months? Anyway, that is not a strategy that should be executed, right? You should be changing that up. You should be, for example, I have a different sales folks every single month of my business. Every single month, I'm selling something different. And in that, even if we look about this month, within this month, I've done 2 masterclass, a challenge, and selling conscious coach. So yeah, all of the focus is coming into funneling into conscious coach. I've done it in different ways. So no, I don't get bored. Also, I put me and my personality into it. And that's what I sell, my energy. I make it fun. Like, this isn't boring. Like, I've got to sell you this masterclass. Please sign up. Who's gonna buy that? And you don't want to say the same things as well. You don't want to jump on and go, buy conscious coach because da 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 da. Like, be innovative. Like, find different ways to do it. Maybe you could do a collaboration. Maybe you could get somebody as a testimonial that's gone through your program before. Maybe you could do face the camera. Maybe you could do like a really funny educational reel. Like there's different ways that you can do it. So like be creative. Like the whole point you do your business is so you can do it your way and infuse your personality and your energy. And is there things that you like to do in a certain way? I'm, for example, very much a performer. So I love to do the kind of face to camera talking videos. I also love to do dances. I also love to do like the mimicking ones. Like that's me and my personality. If that's not you and your personality, don't do that because you think you should do it because you're in a launch. No, because your audience is going to feel that energy and they're going to be like, this is a bit off, and it will. So don't do that. So also another thing to think about is your messaging. And you may be like, yeah, but I wrote this and I wrote that. I'm like, yeah. Before you post anything, before you post absolutely anything, ask yourself, is this messaging that she would understand? And I say she as in my, because that's my idol client. Does it speak to her? Can she read this and know exactly that this post is for her? Are you being generic? Are you sounding like everybody else? Selling the same old masterclass, the same old webinar, the same old program? Or are you infusing your own energy and personality into it? And even if it's way, like for example, me and this person could be talking about the same masterclass, but the way we talk about it is very, very different. And the one thing that's really good here and something that I bring in is you want to think about your brand voice. So your tone. So I don't speak like most coaches, right? And this is what I want to leverage. I want to be different. So I will always put my own voice into it. So using words like badass, let's freaking go, hey girl, oh my goodness, like those type of things, like I would be talking to someone, I infuse that into my copy, into my messaging, so that my ideal client feels like there's a connection between us, because there is. Like I love my community. I love you guys. I love my podcast followers. I love my Instagrammers and my TikTokers. Like I freaking love them. And my YouTubers, right? So I love them. So I want them to be attracted to me, my energy, my personality, because that's who they're getting coached by. Even if me and Sally are selling the exact same thing, you're going to go with Sally because of Sally and you're going to go with me because of me. So that needs to come through in your messaging and your content, okay? And another big thing is, are you being consistent? You want the consistent signups, you want the consistent sales, but are you really and truly being consistent when it comes to actually selling to your audience, offering your audience the next steps, being consistent, posting on social media, and really, like when you say, okay, I'm going to post every day, like for example, I post daily on Instagram and twice a day on TikTok. I also do 2 emails a week. I also do a weekly podcast. I also do YouTube videos and shorts. I also do the Tash Talks. I'm just trying to think of all the channels that are free. I also do a Tash Talks podcast every week. I also do a Tash Talks live show every week. Like, can you see I'm consistent AF? I'm consistently growing my audience, growing my connections, offering and delivering good, valuable pieces of content every single day, week, month. So I want you to have a look at yours and where yours sits and what you are offering, delivering. If you're posting once a week, expecting to go viral, make 10K, then we need to have a look at this, okay? We need to look at what, and I'm not saying you need to be everywhere, right? But what you do want to do is kind of pick your main focus. Like my focus isn't YouTube. That's all kind of stuff that gets like what's the word? Reused. Like we use there and we put it over there. Now I've got loads of clients that do like vlogs on YouTube and really want to do that. Mine's more, my main focus right now is TikTok. That is my main absolute focus. So what you want to do, but I'm still up on Instagram. Like that's still, it's kind of like I'm having a love affair, but it's like a love affair that's okay. YouTube and Instagram doesn't mind that I'm having a love affair at TikTok. So it's one of those relationships. So you have a focus. You don't need to be everywhere, but you need to be there. You need to have a place, or when I go to you, I know I'm going to find you there every single week. Where are you delivering your value? How are you offering that value? So to round this up, those are my tips on really how to fill out your masterclass. Like believe in your masterclass. Like I truly believe that anyone that comes through any of my funnels, any of my free masterclasses, boot camps, it will have a dynamic transformation on your life. Like you will feel a shift. Whether it be my energy, whether it be what you've learned, whether it be the information you've got, whether it be you take the next steps, whether you've seen exactly how I work, what my funnel looks like, how I show up, like whatever it may be, it will have an impact on your life. And that to me is so important. I kind of like one of my main core values in life is experience. Whether that's tonight, for example, we're going to have a little family. We do most Friday nights, like a dinner date out, right? The three of us. So it's always an experience. And that's what I love. We go to this beautiful, not the same restaurant every Friday, but one of the restaurants we love to go to is a Japanese restaurant. And just the experience sells me. Like, I'm sold. You walk in and they all, like, everybody stops what they're doing in the whole restaurant, not the guests, but everyone, like from the chefs to the managers to the bar people to the mixers, like everybody says hello to you in Japanese. It's an experience, right? And I love to spend my life doing that. So for example, another good example is I am doing a birthday pajama party. So I'm having all my besties around, stay at my house. But it's going to be an experience. Okay, there's been invites that have gone out. I've designed invites. Everyone's got to bring their favorite drink, their favorite game, and their favorite pajamas. That you've got to come in your pajamas because it's like my favorite outfit. It's an experience. I'm thinking about the cocktails the girls are going to taste. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do later on in the evening. It's going to give them an experience. When they walk in, the smells they're going to smell, the things they're going to touch. Like everything in my life is an experience. So of course that's going to flow into my work. So when you think about just doing a masterclass, then you're just going to do a masterclass that everybody else does. Why don't you do a masterclass? Why don't you do a boot camp? Why don't you do an alive experience extravaganza? Like, do you see what I mean? Like, make it an experience, make it different, stand out from the crowd. Like, that is what you've got to do. I love you. You're freaking badass. If you want the details on Conscious Coach, send me a DM with the word coach and let's freaking go. Bye-bye.